Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 8. We have 3 more weeks of this class. Crazy. So, I'm just going to click in here really quick to the module section and talk to you about the next 2 modules. So, module 7, the one we're starting this week, is about cause and effect. So we're going to write a cause and effect essay for this module. The essay is not due till next week. So module 7 is going to run like module 6. We're going to have 2 weeks to do everything we need to do for module 7. Module 8 there is no essay in module 8. Okay, module 8 is critical analysis and introducing you to critical analysis. And so there's a worksheet to complete, but there is no essay. So this essay, cause and effect for module 7, is your last essay for this course. Yay! So like I said, we're going to do 2 weeks here, and then we'll do the last week in module 8. And just as a point to make, this course, English 025, does not have a final exam, okay? So you have until August 4th at the end of the day, 11:59 p.m., to submit any late work, revise any inquisitives, things like that. So August 4th is the cutoff, but there is no final exam. So module 8 is it, okay? So let's focus back then on this module, module 7, all right? So as usual, we have the reading here, and our reading this module is going to focus on global warming. And so it's focusing on global warming, but your cause and effect essay is a little bit broader. It's just going to focus on the environment in general, okay? So a cause and effect essay this is a cause, this happens first, and then because of this, something else happens, the effect. So the cause is first, the effect is second. And you are going to develop 3 cause and effect relationships dealing with the environment. What is something that happens and what is the effect? How does it affect the environment? And we're going to get a little more personal because we're going to talk about personal choices that you make that affect the environment, okay? So this is about global warming, and this article, if you've been skipping them and not reading them, this one's a good one to read because it does help you get some ideas on what you could write about, especially the last section of this article. Very helpful. These 2 videos are also very helpful. They give different ideas and different ways that people can, choices that people can make, lifestyle changes that they can make, and then the effect of those changes on the environment, which is exactly what your essay is about. So take some time to read and watch because while you don't have to specifically say in this article they talk about, or this article says you're not required to have any sources for this essay, it's still okay to do a little bit of research to give yourself some ideas on, what can I write about? And so reading this article and watching these videos is going to help you do that, okay? And then, of course, we have the assignment guidelines, the rubric. There is a sample cause and effect essay that you can read. There's also this is a cause and effect writing, like 4-step outline. It shows you some brainstorming things that you can use to do your activity that's due for the assignment that's due for this week. And then, of course, this video on cause and effect is a very good video. This is also a good video about words and verbs and phrases that you can use when writing cause and effect essays to show relationship between the cause and the effect. And then paraphrasing. Learning how to paraphrase is super important. A lot of people confuse that with summarizing, but it's not summarizing. Paraphrasing is very different. So it's similar, but it's different. So I may do a separate video on paraphrasing just to kind of talk about that and show the distinctions between. But actually, this is a really good video about paraphrasing, okay? So there are no new inquisitive activities. None. You've gotten them all. Okay, so if you need to revise any, just go back up into modules 1 through 6 and click that inquisitive link and go ahead and revise. I did send emails out last week that just kind of said, hey, heads up, these are the inquisitives that you have not done yet, or these are the inquisitives that aren't at a 100. Now, if your inquisitives were anywhere in the 90s or a 100, I did not send you an email. So if you've done all of your inquisitives and they're at 100% or they're at least a 90% or higher, I did not send you an email. So if you didn't get an email about inquisitives, then that means you're pretty good with inquisitives, okay? But if you did get an email, there are some that did really well, completed the inquisitives in module 1, module 2, module 3, and then when we got to module 4, it's like you haven't done any inquisitive since. And so you want to make sure you go back in modules 4, 5, and 6, get those inquisitives done, because you don't want zeros for those activities that you don't attempt. They're going to automatically convert to a 0. And you don't want that because that will drop your grade. Okay, so what assignments are due for this module? For this module, we have a writing plan, a flow map. We have a discussion board, a writing share where you share your rough draft. And then, of course, you submit your final essay for grading. The only thing due this week is the writing plan. Okay, now, next week, we will do a writing share just like we did for module 6. And then at the end of next week on July 27th is when your essay is due. So you can click into these things, but you will not be able to access these activities until next week, because this is where I want you to focus. I want you to focus on good planning, all right? And you will notice I did not include a planning sheet. I want you to develop your own plan, okay? It can be a flow map. It can be something similar to what we've done in past modules. It can be bullet points. It can be a beginning of a rough draft. Your writing plan or brainstorming can be whatever you want it to be, and I want you to get creative with it, okay? I will tell you that if you want to, you can scroll back up to module 6. You can take this brainstorming sheet and you can change it so it fits a cause and effect essay. If you want me to do that, I can. But I kind of want you to develop your own idea. I want you to develop your own method of brainstorming. I want you to try new things, okay? But if you do want to download this sheet, if you just click on it, and then if you click here and download it, download, there it is. You can, oops, it went over here. Hold on. Here we go. If you want to use this, you can come up here and erase this and put cause and effect. You can change that to module 7. You can discuss, you can just say discuss, the environment, or you can erase all of this and just do your stuff about the environment. Instead of first point of comparison, you can write first cause and effect, second cause and effect, third cause and effect, and then supporting details and examples. You just erase this part that says discuss both classes. And then you can erase this and say, how does individuals affect the environment and what does that mean for our future. And you can do your own brainstorming for Module 7 on this same sheet and just change the wording and make it work for you if that's what you want to do. But you're not required to do that. If you want to just do something on your own, bullet points, or just draw some blocks and make each block represent a paragraph and just take notes. However, but you need to do some kind of planning and brainstorming for this essay. That is what I'm looking for. So let's click into this and see what your requirements are, okay? Because I'm giving you like free reign to brainstorm however you want, I need to give you some guidelines to make sure that it's adequate brainstorming for a grade, okay? So I put here, please submit your outline, writing plan, thinking map, flow chart, whatever you want to use. Your plan should clearly show what you will include in each of the 5 paragraphs, okay? I don't care if you just write introduction paragraph, I'm going to talk about this and this. First, cause and effect, and you list it, and then give details. Second, cause and effect. I need to clearly see your 5 paragraphs. So the introduction, give some kind of hook idea, working thesis statement with your clear points. And then your body paragraph, 1 cause and effect relationship per paragraph, and give a couple examples or details. What are you going to include? And then, of course, your conclusion, ideas on how individuals affect the world around them with their small decisions, maybe what our future looks like, anything like that. You can submit the flow map as an image or submit it as a Word document. I don't care. But if I don't see brainstorming for 5 clear paragraphs, you're not going to get full credit on this assignment, all right? I need you to just what comes naturally as far as how do you want to organize. We've been organizing on a pretty strict brainstorming map for the last 3 or 4 modules. 3 modules, 4, 5, and 6. So you have an idea of how brainstorming works. So now for Module 7, I want you to maybe try something different. I'm giving you permission to try something different. Again, if you want to use the brainstorming sheet from Module 6 and just adjust it for this one, feel free. But I have not included one here because I want to give you that freedom to brainstorm on your own. Okay, so this is the only assignment due this week. So as I've been saying, top down, go through this information and then complete this activity. You have all week. Take the time to do, because I'm not going to be super strict, but I am going to expect that you've spent some time on this because this is the only assignment due this week, okay? So make sure that you have a good, strong, detailed writing plan, okay? Let's click out of the modules and go into the announcements, because you know every week I do a Monday memo and I kind of outline what you need to be doing. So we've already talked about the article that you can read. We've already talked about cause and effect essays, and then all the different resources that are available. And this is where I give you a little more detail about the writing plan or flow map assignment that's due at the end of this week. And I say here, I want you to get creative and discover what type of brainstorming and planning works for you. You can also use the brainstorming sheet from Module 6 and simply revise the template to fit this assignment. You have complete control over how your brainstorming looks in this module. It can be bullet points, a formal outline, flow map, or an early rough draft. It can look however you want, but no matter how you decide to brainstorm, you need to make sure you include information for all 5 paragraphs, okay? All right, with a working thesis statement. I know it's not going to be a perfect thesis, but a working thesis statement, okay? So one other thing I want us to look at then, let's go back into modules and let's look at this cause and effect writing handout, okay? This is a great way to do some brainstorming, and this is super easy to draw on your own on a sheet of paper, a circle with 3 squares on one side, three rectangles on one side, 3 rectangles on the other side. This is a perfect brainstorming mind map, and this will take care of your 3 paragraphs. And then you just need to write an idea above for the introduction and write some ideas below for the conclusion. But environment goes in the middle. What is one cause that you want to talk about? And then what is the effect? Here's some examples. You can do water consumption, water use. You can do single-use plastics. You can talk about fuel and burning fuel and transportation. You can talk about recycling. You can talk about where you buy your clothing, how you buy clothing, eating meat or reducing meat consumption. There are a ton of different things, and I do give some of those examples on the assignment sheet. So for example, one cause may be that we used to go through 2 cases of bottled water a week in my house. So I bought 2 cases of individually bottled water every week. That's the cause. That happens first. Then what's the effect of that? Well, I'm throwing 80 plus plastic bottles away every week. So the effects of that is all that plastic's going into a landfill. Now, how does that impact the environment? That's awful. Okay, so I can talk about me consuming, my family consuming all that water in individual water bottles and the effect that that has on the environment, not just filling landfills, but all those plastics. And then I can talk about how that's negatively impacting the environment. That's no good. And then I can say, to fix that, we decided to go to the big 5-gallon jugs of water and use a little electronic, spout that goes on top of the water bottle, because a 5-gallon, one of those 40 bottles of water is 5 gallons, and I've got a 5-gallon jug, and all I do is refill that jug, and I'm not throwing away 80 plus plastic water bottles anymore. Okay, that's one paragraph. The cause, what I'm doing, the effect it had, maybe how I fixed it. Second cause and effect, maybe I combine my shopping trips so that I'm not driving 20, 30 plus miles to do grocery shopping every other day of the week. Maybe I save everything up and only go one time. What's the effect of that? Well, it's less pollution, less emissions in the air because I'm not driving my car as much. If I have short trips, maybe I take a bike because that's better for the environment. Those are the effects. Third thing that I do. So you can see how this really, you put the cause here and put the effect, put the cause here, put the effect, put the cause here, put the effect. This can really help you get your body paragraphs in order. And if you use this type of brainstorming idea, just remember somewhere above this, you'll need to write some introductory ideas, a thesis statement. And somewhere below this, after the body paragraphs, you'll need to do some information for conclusion. You can do that. Another way to brainstorm this essay is to use this chain writing flow. Now, just like with the Module 6 essay, where we did the comparison, you could do a subject by subject or a point by point, and I wanted you to do point by point because you're doing 3-point paragraphs. This is the same thing. A block type of construction is when you talk about all the causes in one group, and then you talk about all the effects in the other group. I do not want you to do that. I want you to do this chain method here, okay? Where one cause, effective cause one, cause two, effective cause two, cause three, effective cause three, and then you have your conclusion. So if you want to just draw squares and make your notes this way, this is also a good flow map example to use for cause and effect. Okay, so a couple different ideas. Remember, you can also use the Module 6 template and just revise it a little bit to fit this if you'd like. So there's 3 different examples then that you can use, or you can come up with your own way to brainstorm. All right, I would like for you to get creative and what helps, because not everybody brainstorms and plans the same way. Not everybody likes this. And I know that the brainstorming sheets that I've been including in the modules is what you're used to. But you might brainstorm a different way that's more beneficial for you. And so I want you to explore that. This is the only assignment due this week. You have all week. I want you to explore what best works for you. If it's just bullet points, then submit me a bunch of bullet points that show your 5 different paragraphs, and that's good. If you like to draw or color code things, then color code. If you download this assignment, I know that it's not here, but if you download this handout, let's just download it real quick and I'll show you. It's a really good handout. If you want to download it, and you'll notice that you can, if you want to work on it like this, and you can, or you can draw your own, like I said, on a piece of paper. But this has an example and it's color coded. So it's color coded to kind of show you transitions and the way they do the different cause and effect and all of that, and the structure and flow. And so it's really nice that on Canvas, on the Canvas page, you can't see the color coding. But on the downloaded copy, you can. And so this might be something that you're interested in as well. And then, of course, there's a bunch of different ideas for transitions and connectors, which are important in cause and effect writing. We'll talk a little bit more about this next week, but this is also included on this 4-step handout. I just think this is a great handout. As I said, let me go back into the modules. We have been looking at this right here, cause and effect writing, 4 steps with a sample. Great handout, okay? Along with this video, great stuff to get started on a cause and effect essay, okay? And so please, I know we didn't review it here. I kind of just said it to you. Review the assignment guidelines and the rubric for sure. Review this handout. Choose the way that you want to brainstorm. After you have read this article and reviewed this information, you kind of get some ideas. Choose how you want to brainstorm. Take some time this week to brainstorm your essay. I look forward to reading and reviewing your ideas for Module 7. I will work on grading your Module 6 essays this week as well. So if you have any questions as those grades start coming in, just let me know. This is almost 25 minutes long. I'm sorry, but I felt it was important. So I probably won't do a paraphrase video because I don't want to overwhelm you all, but I will include a couple more paraphrase videos, especially comparing summary and paraphrase. I'll include another video and just upload it here to Canvas later on today. Okay. You all have an amazing week. Let me know how I can help, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.